Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good morning, Tiff. It's a Real Estate Friday.
Yes, it is.
Welcome to Integrity's Business, where our business is checking your integrity this week. That's our business.
Integrity is so important.
It is. So, like always, our show is always brought to you by the Business and Personal Finance Empowerment Academy. Our next information session is coming up in March. People look out for that information. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, let's cut that. So I don't have a rant today because I just have a conversation topic, but I had a great week this week and it was really phenomenal. So first of all, again, welcome everyone to Integrity's Business. This is Mickel, your host, and Tifphani Johnson, my co-host on Fridays. She is my realtor
Two syllables.
special.
Two syllables.
Realtor.
Realtor.
I'm spelling it R-E-A-L-T-O-R. That's how it gives me the realtor.
It doesn't.
I know it's the same way, but it doesn't matter. I'm the realtor. Well, listen, your name is Tifphani, so
It isn't.
I can have realtor. I know how to talk to people. I
Just making up words.
pretty much. It's Friday, and I had a pretty phenomenal week. It was a great week, and I mean by a great week, like I had some clients come in, and I normally don't mix personal with business. I barely ever do it, but this week I had some clients come in, and like I always tell people, number one rule of business is most clients will become friends before friends become clients.
I was just thinking that.
Right, and this couple have become kind of friends. I worked with them for a while now, and this was the first time I go around. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little rough because I'm direct, I'm straightforward, I'm transparent. And sometimes I've learned and I'm still seeing that some people don't like that approach. They want to be babied, and maybe I'm not the consultant for you. That's
Right.
okay. But this couple stayed with me. They didn't, jump ship, and we had a lot of conversations to kind of soothing and smoothing a lot of things out so we can understand each other. And now they love the transparency. Now they love the honesty. Like, Mickel, just be straight. Oh, I'm always be straight.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this week we had a meeting, and they came in for the work that they're getting done, and they're growing the business, and they're handling some things. And we started talking about marriage. They brought it up, not me. Now, I've been married for 22 years to my wonderful wife, Vanessa, and there are some things that I've learned in those 22 years, how she's made me a better man and how my children have made me a better person and a better father. And one of the greatest lessons that I've learned is if I want you to be something, I need to become that thing.
Exactly.
Right? Most people say it's by example. It's a little more than being an example, because I have to become that thing I want you to be. So if I want you to be honest, I have to be that honest. If I want you to communicate, I have to teach you how to communicate by communicating with you and allowing you to share how you feel. Because if it's a skill, communication is a skill.
Yeah.
That means it has to be honed. It has to be trained, which means we have to do it. And doing it is not a matter of doing it well or doing it bad, just doing it. And then you have moments of learning lessons where you get to teach. And they're teachable moments for my children and even for my wife and even for myself. And so this week, this couple came in and we were dealing with business, and it was great. And then it came up the idea, and this is what I want to talk about somewhat today in our little preamble. Like I said, I normally do my rant. Don't have one today, but this is kind of the conversation I wanted to have. It kind of came up is, how do unmarried people who are a couple do business? And not so much how they do business, but as far as how do you protect that woman? Because a lot of the stuff was in the gentleman's name, but he had things going on before they met, and he was already in a previous marriage. So he's divorced, he has kids, and now she has a child, and they're together, but they're not married. They're engaged, but they're not married. And one of the things that came up was, how does he expect her to do certain things when she's not protected? And he understood that. Like, this wasn't a man who was like, well, no, I need you to do A, B, and C, and no, why are you worrying about that? I'm going to take care of you. And it was like, no, but if he wasn't that guy. He was like, Mickel, how do I protect her? And I was like, huh? And they were talking business-wise. And I said, well, I asked a couple of questions. I said, one, do you have an insurance policy? And he was like, well, yeah, I do. Who's the beneficiary? His son. Okay. I asked her, does she have a insurance policy? She said, yeah. Who's your beneficiary? My son. I said, okay, so neither one of y'all protected.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, y'all haven't taken the steps. I said, because a few things, and I've seen it happen, like in my own family. People die, people get funny.
Yeah.
Their eyes get big. They can handle that money. They feel they deserve something, which in essence you don't, but they feel they do.
Yeah, my family kind of fell apart after my grandfather died.
That's same here.
Crazy.
Same here.
It's crazy.
Same here. Cousins that don't talk to me no more, as if I did something to them.
Exactly.
But that's another conversation. And so it kind of got real. And I said, well, listen, you want the truth? Want the honest truth? And he was like, yeah. I said, you need to marry her. I said, because if y'all walk out this door today and you get hit by a car, she can't even handle your arrangements without your son's approval. And they've been together for a while. He was like, huh? And I said, yo, you want the truth? I said, now, it's not that your son will fight her. I don't know. And, you know, you guys, but at the end of the day, she wouldn't need permission. She's not your wife. She's not your next of kin. There's no marriage license. There's nothing. I tell people all the time, most people will tell me, or I've heard people tell me, marriage is, you know, I don't need that piece of paper. I say, well, you do. Because it's not just about the piece of paper.
Right.
It's about the piece of paper gives you a legal peace of mind. I've seen stuff online, and I love this. How they say when you get married, the government's in between you and your wife, and yada yada yada. And I say,
between?
Yes, I've seen this whole. Nessa
I think
sent this
it's set
to
up
me.
to help you and your wife.
Well, that's a tax thing. But Nessa sent me something, and I wish I could find it because I would literally play it while we're talking here. I would share the screen. But it was saying something about is your wife, you, or whoever, however you're married, you know, your spouses, and then the government. And it was saying how you got to pay this and you got to do this and you got to do that. And I'm saying to myself, that's maybe true if you're not set up properly. If you're not set up properly, they're 100% right. But if you're protected and set up properly, the law literally also gives you benefits to get around that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, we're not going to go into that stuff today, but hey, if you want to, reach out. We literally can show you how to set your life up to where you ain't got to go to probate. You ain't got to go see no lawyer. When the person passed, you can just go ahead and put your loved one and lay them to rest and keep it chucking. And so these are things that we were talking about this week, but it got real. Like I'm talking about like real, like marriage, understanding, commitment. Like I felt like we was like on this podcast, we just didn't have the mics out. And it was like, what we doing? But it just kind of went there. And I'm a believer. So I tell people all the time, I say, I don't believe in the church rhetoric. I'm not a religious person. And I'm not a spiritual person. No, I believe in Yahweh. I believe in his son, Yeshua, the Christ, the Messiah. He's come. He has come. He has died. He has finished the complete work, which gives us access back to the Father now. I don't believe in what a lot of church rhetoric says, because a lot of people will say, well, Mickel, you're a Christian. I say, well, no, I'm a believer. If you want to tag me with that, you can, just like they tag the believers at Antioch with that same. But no one ever said what that date was a Christian.
Right.
I'm a believer in Yahweh. I'm a believer in Yeshua, his son, the Messiah. I'm a believer in understanding who God is because I have a relationship with my Father. So we just kind of went into a certain conversation, and I was very transparent. Listen, this is who I am. This is what I believe. So if you want to talk to me, it's going to go a certain way.
Right.
And as we were talking, and I told him, I said, I don't, it wasn't a judgment thing. I could care less, because the one thing I say, justice demands judgment. But the best part about that is we get to be the ones that bring the judgment. We either bring it through mercy or through sin. And I said, every time she does something to get on your nerves, justice is going to demand a judgment from you. Every time he gets on your nerves, justice is going to demand a judgment from you. How do you judge it? Through mercy or through sin? So that's the question. And what I mean by mercy or sin is you. It's human nature. We are sin-filled. Like we were talking about this literally a couple weeks ago, me and Ness and the kids, and I was explaining to them how most people will look at the byproduct of sin. You're a drunkard. You're a liar. You're a whoremonger. You're a whore. That's not the sin. That's a byproduct of your sin, because that's sin nature.
Okay.
So you're just doing what's in you. And that's the reality. That's why the world has embraced so many things, especially sexual things over time, because that's why people say, well, I was born this way, because it's sin nature. It's in you. The sin isn't the drink. You can drink. Don't over drink. Don't become addicted. Don't,
Right.
because then it has dominion over you. That's a byproduct of your sin nature.
I get it. Yeah.
It's a byproduct. That's like all things. If I you've heard the old rhetoric. If I stub my toe when I cuss, it was in you. What's in you comes out. Well, your sin, that's nature. That's a human nature. It's in you. So all these things we see is a byproduct. And I gave him scripture. I said, listen, go to Proverbs chapter 6, 16 or 13, I think it starts, where it says these things, these 6 things the Lord hates. But if you look at it and you understand the original text, it's actually saying these things and the 7 things of abomination. When you pay attention to those words in this original language, what it's saying is these things are a byproduct of your sin. And not only are they a byproduct of your sin, but they destroy families and they destroy communities and they destroy societies. So it wasn't a thing that God hates it alone. It was more of a thing of this is going to destroy you. Stay away from it. And we're not disciplined enough. And that's what I told them too. I said, as husbands, we're not disciplined enough to lead. And I said, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it, because we're only 11 minutes and we good. Normally we 30 minutes and our rants. But what I gave him, I said, most men want to be leaders, but they don't want to take accountability. I said, and here's the difference between responsibility and accountability. I said, most men want women to be accountable. Women are not accountable, especially if she's a wife. Okay? I said, you need to understand this. And this is where men lose me because they drop the ball. Responsibility is me and my wife, we're married. Baby, listen, we're going to split the bills. You pay the electric bill, you pay the gas bill, I'm going to pay the water bill, I'm going to pay the mortgage, I'm going to pay the insurance, I'm going to pay the car. Like, that's being responsible. You're just splitting, delegating responsibility, delegating, things we have to do. That's responsibility, okay? Accountability is, listen, regardless of what happens, it falls on me. Regardless of how we handle this, if something goes wrong, it falls on me. That's accountability. So I'm accountable even for my wife's inability to act in certain manners. I haven't let her.
Yeah, I hear you. My father would have those, like, my father had these conversations with me about how a man is supposed to lead a house and how his wife is a reflection of him.
Yes.
And we aren't religious
right.
people, but the foundation is still the the same. And when I hear these discussions about women all over the internet, women lack accountability. I'm one of those women where, yes, we have our responsibilities that we talked about, we negotiate, and we listened to each other.
Yes.
And said, this works for you, this works for me, and we worked it out together. But I know when I'm out with my man, my brain turns off.
Right.
Because I can.
There you go.
Because I can. There are things like when I am not with my husband, I drive like a whole dude.
And as soon as I'm laughing, because I can see that too.
Drive like a whole dude. I back up like this. I
right.
drive like a whole dude. I drive just like my daddy. But when my husband is in the car, even if I'm driving, I'm a whole lady, a girly girl. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking him questions that probably if I had thought about it, I would know the answer to.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm mad at you right now for saying that. But here's why I'm mad at you. This was years ago. Okay, literally, and everything in my marriage is years ago, because me and Vanessa has like kind of leapfrogged into this new space where I'm really enjoying. I know we're really enjoying this new space in our marriage, right? But years ago, never forget this. Before I understood as being a husband, being accountable, being responsible was one thing, but being accountable was different. One day we were arguing. I was like, what your problem is? You want me to think for you? And she was like, yes, just do it. And I was like, wait a minute, what? But she wasn't saying that as if she doesn't think, and because my wife is brilliant, you know that, that she's brilliant. But what she was saying was when we're together, I don't want to have to deal with certain things. But that's the way God made us. Because watch this. And this is what I was telling these two yesterday. I said, if you do it right, Jane, almost said his name. I said, if you do it right, literally, she finishes you. Most people think, especially men got this thing now, I want to see this before I get married. I want to see that. Stop. And then also I hate the flip side of women. We know you asking for wife privileges, but you only got girlfriend access. It's like, stop. Neither one of those things work. And the reason why neither one of those things work is because, one, you shouldn't even be doing certain girlfriend things. And what I mean, and I'm not talking about sex. Who cares? I'm talking about you should not be bailing him out. You should not be picking him up. You should not be doing things that if you decide to get married and y'all get into a situation where he has to lead, he won't, because he's going to remember those times where you bailed him out. So he's going to come back looking at you like, what we going to do? What? No. That's you're accountable for that, player. And that's where men miss it, because women are doing things that they should never be doing. Yeah. I told Ness when we got married, I said, listen, do me a favor. Never do for me what I should be doing for myself or for this family. And I meant that. Because here's the thing that most men will never admit to. We're lazy. And we can be super lazy if we don't have to do anything. Right. Nessa said it to me this way. She said, men are compartmentalized. We got like 3 compartments. That's pretty much it. We are here, here, or here. And we're good with that. And I was like, no, I can see that. We either watching the game, or we trying to, boo love, or we trying to just be by ourselves or with the kids and just trying to do nothing. Women are all over the map.
All the time.
And she said that. I never saw it until she said it.
And that's why we talk about the mental weight
yes.
of women. Because yes, I can be sitting here, but I still have to know my husband's doctor's appointments, the kids' doctor's appointments, who got to do what, where, what we having for dinner. Even if he's cooking dinner, I have to make sure all the ingredients in the house, like whatever we designated, I'm thinking about it all the time, all at one time, all the time.
Right. But you know why that is, right?
No.
Because of other women. I literally say this constantly to my daughter. Be very mindful that you don't let the opinions of other women run your mind. Women are criticizers of women more than men are.
Oh, definitely.
And so, but that runs your mind. The other thing I've seen with women is women are constantly, I don't know when this happened. And I never forget Bernie Mac made a joke about it, but it was just so true. We're big mama. And you don't have to be a big woman to be a big mama.
Big mama, yeah.
And Big Mama was that woman who was training the younger women. And she did not, because everyone watched her handle her business so well with her husband, with her children, with her grandchildren, whatever it was, that when she called you, she didn't speak much. But when she called you, you showed up because she had something to tell you. And what she told you was going to be a gem for you. Women aren't doing that anymore.
Right.
Women trying to be young. Men, we see that. We see younger men and we see us in them, and we want to help them become stronger and better. Women see a young woman, they want to compete with them.
I see that. I definitely see that.
Think about it. We have, it's 2 terms and maybe 3, but 2 terms I know for sure that has going commercial because of women's behavior. MILF and Cougar. Where do you think it came from? They supposed to be Big Mama. They supposed to be the one dropping gems, but they a MILF and a Cougar. The structure of reality for the family, for the community, for the society is breaking down. Now, please don't think I'm blaming women. I'm blaming men. Because men stopped being accountable and started pushing the finger at women saying, well, you need to be accountable. That's not her role. It's not her position in life. I taught Sydney this, and I told the couple this yesterday. I said, what happens when you get married at the altar? He was like, we join in holy matrimony. I said, no, that's the nice, pretty version of it. Only one thing happens at an altar. Something has to die. And the reason why a woman's father brings her to the altar, it is not because this is your new responsibility now, dude. I'm giving this. No. It's because her father was her first sacrifice. And now he's delivering her to her next sacrifice. Accountability.
Yeah.
I am my daughter's sacrifice. My sons, I have to teach them how to be a sacrifice. But my daughter, I have to teach her certain things. It's on dad. It don't matter how old you are. It don't matter how if you are still unmarried, certain responsibility for you falls on me. It is annoying at times, but it's only annoying if you don't understand it and you don't put your mind to, this is my reasoning of accountability. I am her sacrifice. The reason why most daughters marry idiots is because their father didn't show them the sacrificial part of life. Didn't explain it to them. So now women are just running around and having fun, and it's like, you don't understand what's going on. You'll never be chosen. Because women have to be chosen. Why?
Yeah.
Because men hold the keys to marriage and family. This is a whole nother conversation. But we're only 20 minutes in. We're doing good. Because we're normally gone by now. But this is the reality of what we're dealing with. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. And it got good. Like we were diving into all this. And it got really good. But they were clients. And I'm like, but they're friends, you know. But it's something that made me think even more about it. And it was just like, it is so funny to me how, but those things, it goes back to that sin nature. Those 7 things are literally destroying society. It destroyed the family. It destroyed the community. And now it's destroying our society. And if anyone out there, just go look at it. All those things are a byproduct of your heart condition, which is human nature, which is sin. It's that simple.
I think that puts a nice bow on it.
Yeah, it's that simple. And the only way to come away from that is to become disciplined of mind in Christ. Because that discipline of mind is how you walk in the Spirit.
Okay.
We don't have any, we keep thinking like, I told a friend of mine this, and he was like, God is going to supernaturally. I said, shut up. We were together. When he says supernatural, I said, shut up. You don't even know what that means. And now he's a good friend of mine. And the reason why I told him to shut up, because he was talking to me as if he was telling me something. And I said, shut up. You don't even know what that means. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, tell me what supernatural is. He was like, it's when God comes in and he does something that the natural can't do. I said, no, that's not supernatural. I said, that's what you've been taught is supernatural. That's not supernatural. I said, here's supernatural. You have a responsibility to bring God something that he can work with, which is your willingness. It is your ability to be obedient. It is your willingness to humble yourself and become obedient. People use humility as if it's this nice thing. No. The root of humility is obedience, because if I'm the boss of my company, I run my company. But if any one of my team members came and told me, Mickel, I need you to do this, I humble myself and become obedient to their words. And I do what they ask. That's humility, not this lowly place. Meekness is self-control, is strength under control, which a lot of people mix for humility.
I hear you.
That's meekness. And so when you look at it, the problem is we haven't become the willing vessels for God. That's the natural part. Now God will take what you can't do and now manifest the super with your natural. That's how you get supernatural.
Okay.
Because he needed something to work with. Why? He gave us dominion over this place. So if I don't have someone who's willing, I can't do nothing super with your natural, because you're not willing. I need a willing vessel. Supernatural. That's why he said he spoke to Abraham, who then Abraham called those things that are not as though they were. He manifested it. Abraham, make you the father of many nations. I can't have kids. Don't worry about that. I got you. I needed you willing, Abraham. But Abraham listened to another sinner, his wife, his sin-filled person rather, his wife. Well, go sleep with Hagar. That's how you're going to have a son. God said, no worries. I'm going to back up and let you deal with this headache. Now, Hagar has a son, Ishmael. Now, Hagar and Ishmael dancing in front of Sarah. She ain't got no kids. Now, Sarah mad. Kick that broad out. Abraham like, God, what do? He said, you listened to you right the first time. Listen to her now. Don't come to me whining. Because when you were not willing to do it, I couldn't do nothing super. So ain't nothing supernaturally happen. 25 years later, Abraham finally shows up willing. God said, okay, now I'm going to do something super with your natural. They have a son, Isaac.
Father Abraham.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the blessing still remains. I'll make you the father of many nations. Because here's the funny part. God knew he wasn't willing the first time around. But because of his willingness previously, leave your father's house, leave your kindred, and go to a place where I'm going to show you, he leaves. I got you willing now, but now you get to a hard part. And that's the problem with a lot of people. The thing that seems easier to us, we'll go do. But then you get to that hard part, and God's like, well, just do it again. I don't know. And then we find a caveat. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to help God out. Really? Good luck with that. So that's just kind of how we got into it yesterday. And I don't know how we always go off, so I don't even mind no more.
This is not, we're just used to it now.
Right. But that was such a great time yesterday.
Yeah.
That wasn't normal for a business meeting. And but it was kind of refreshing because the week that I had, think about it, was off Monday, but I really wasn't off. We was still working, getting ready for Tuesday, which we was up New York. The Harlem Fine Arts the preview show was phenomenal. I left there saying I need some more grown friends. And when I say grown, I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about mental.
Yeah.
There was celebration of Black everywhere. And there was artists everywhere. And they were enjoying each other's art. That was the part that was phenomenal to me.
I love to see stuff like that.
They were walking around taking pictures of other people's art like, this is awesome. I mean, the atmosphere was phenomenal. But what got under my skin, not in a bad way, but just made me go, oh, come on, Lord, let me do it. I don't care. And I'm not mad at them for doing it. I appreciate who did it. It was sponsored by Deutsche Bank. They're German. And I ain't mad at them. But I'm like, where are we at?
Yeah.
Supporting us so they can celebrate themselves. Because I'm not an artist. And so, but we had some good conversations that came out of it because, like I said, Tuesday was phenomenal. Wednesday, I had a good day getting caught back up. I was in here all night. Yesterday, I said, great day. And now today I'm with you. And it is a good day to be here, a great Friday. And, all the things, and my watch is just going nuts. All the things that's going on in the world and the things we talk about. That's why I'm going to hit you when you ask me for the agenda today. I'm like, we just going to go back through because we never finished our conversation last time. And I literally just had such a great week. I'm like, I want to finish the conversation from last week.
It's been a great week for me. And one of the things, like when you sent me, said we're going to talk, continue about real estate post-pandemic. I had a good experience of that this week. Because during the pandemic, it was so hard for the first-time home buyer who didn't have a lot of money and didn't qualify for grants and had a low credit score.
High debt to income.
Yeah. So I had a buyer who everything was working against her. And she didn't qualify for grants. Credit score was low. She didn't have a lot of money. But you know how you said, bring me somebody willing?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing she was willing. She had a couple lenders told her no. She had another lender tell her yes, who worked with me. I didn't know this person, but he called me, and we wrapped out a plan for this girl together, this young woman together. And what she did was everything we told her to do immediately. So the lender was like, once we get her under, like she had already given tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements immediately. And while we looked, I said, just update your stuff every 30 days. When you get it, send it. When you get it, send it. When you get it, send it. And she did that. We went under contract, got a mortgage commitment in 10 days.
Oh, wow.
Because she had submitted
all her documents.
She had submitted everything. We had it in 10 days. And then once we got under contract, there was like a day where like I send a bullet pointed list of everything you have to do. 2 days later, I'm like, I haven't heard about your insurance. I haven't heard about your home inspection. She's like, oh, I was supposed to do that? I said, yes, that's what the bullet pointed email. She was like, I'm sorry, I'm tired. She works nights. Gotcha. She was like, I'm sorry, I'm tired. That day that I had that conversation with her, within 2 hours, I was getting text message. Here's my insurance. Here's my, everything she did, everything we asked her to do, she did it immediately. Didn't have a lot of purchasing power. FHA mortgage.
Good. I like them.
Yeah, I love FHA mortgages. Didn't have a lot of purchasing power. And so immediately when we went looking, there were literally only 4 houses for her to see.
Gotcha.
Price point FHA.
Right.
Only 4 houses. The 4th house, she walked in and I could see that it was her house. I could see it. I could see that it was her house. And so my job as the realtor is to walk through, and I'm supposed to show you everything that's wrong with the house.
Right.
So you know what you're getting into. I showed her everything that was wrong with the house. Nothing fazed her. Absolutely nothing fazed her, and I got it. Because I felt what she felt.
Right.
And difficult home inspection. So negotiated 6% seller assist. that knocked
Always.
out that knocked out a whole bunch of her closing costs. But she still, remember, she still didn't, she still needed money.
Right.
Home inspection, nasty seller, didn't want to fix anything. I said, okay, well, give her some money. Mind you, she maxed out on seller assist.
Right.
I said, give her some money. We want X amount of dollars. You're going to pay this fee, this fee, this fee, this fee. We're moving all of this to your side of the sheet, and you're going to buy her the top of the line home warranty.
Right.
So my girl is coming to the table with little to no money. And literally, there were only 4 houses that she could afford that would accept FHA, and she needed a certain amount of space.
Right.
She got a house that had been sitting on the market because times have changed, in a good area, the area that she wanted to be in, that was affordable to her, that I would have thought was a unicorn. Because the talking theory is that pretty much everything under $250,000 in Philadelphia is,
a mess.
Is a mess.
That's the talking theory.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the talking theory. And she got the house that's for her for less than $150,000. And it's move-in condition. Needs some work, but she can move her family in and do things year by year. We made her me and the inspector made her a bullet pointed list.
Right.
So she knows what to do going in, and she's going to still have her savings because she had the seller assist and then the seller to pay all of these fees. So it's I say all that to say times have changed.
They're changed because people don't want their houses sitting no more.
Yeah, people don't want their houses sitting anymore. And as long as you are willing to be teachable and follow instructions, her process is taking roughly 40 days.
Right.
From the time we got her pre-approved to her getting her keys. She's getting keys next week.
That's what's up.
But all she did was what we asked her to do when we asked her to do it. And she really trusted the process, even though so many people had told her no.
Right.
And we're just like, it's a yes if you do this. I mean, her circumstances weren't great, but she has been one of the most amazing buyers I have ever worked with, because I never had to, once she understood the urgency, I never had to wonder, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? She did it, and she's seeing her dream come to fruition because she was teachable. And she understood that she came to us not in the best position, not in the best position, and so many things were working against her. I mean, the taxes came back higher than what was in the MLS. She had a student loan creep back up on her that was supposed to be in forbearance. Like, so many things happened to work against her. But every time she said, "Okay, this happened," every time she kept us in communication. When something happened, she told us, and so we was just like, "All right, now you do this, do this." Her process was not hindered by hiccups,
right?
Because she did everything she was supposed to do.
Tell you, man, that's when I hear stuff like that, especially from you, it always gets me back to clients and to, when we deal with individuals as far as they're doing their personal finance. If people would just get rid of the time frame in their mind, because the biggest hurdle I think people fight with is this should happen by this way, and stop listening to anyone that's not the professional helping you. Because you'll hear people, when I bought my house, I'm going to settlement in 30 days. Well, I did this like this. I ain't have to do all that. Your scenario is different than mine.
Every
scenario is different. And so if people would just, I had a client ask me, I don't think I told you, I might have. He said, "What's the guarantee that I'm going to get this loan?" I said, "I guarantee if you don't do what I say, you won't get the loan."
That's all you can guarantee.
That's what I'm guaranteeing you. I said, because it's not about you getting the loan. And I try to explain that to people. It's about you being prepared and being able to be approved for the loan, which means you have to be in a certain position, which means I know what the position you need to be in to get approved for the loan.
Right.
So do what I say, and I'll get you the loan. Because it's not like banks are like, no, 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 I don't care. Everything's perfect. I don't like him. It's like, no, it's not how lending works. Lenders are risk mitigators.
Yeah, and you need to check their boxes.
Yes.
And we set you up to be able to check those boxes. That's why
right.
your loan offers are so important. You don't want to find out the hiccup when it gets to underwriting.
That's right.
I call one of my loan officers the pre-underwriter.
Yes,
because
they should be.
Because he puts this package together so good. They review everything first before it gets to the underwriting.
Yes, they should do
everything first and say, all right, this needs to be taken care of. We're going to go back. We're going to backtrack, and we're going to fix this first, and then you're going to resend it.
Yes, yes. Listen, I have one of my banks, right? I do a lot of SBA loans through them for a lot of my business clients. Tifphani, when I met this woman, it was a while. It's been years since I've met her. This young lady works at the bank. It's Celtic Bank. I can put them out there, but I won't put her name out there, right? So she's a loan officer. The first time I sent her an SBA package, it was a 7A package. She was like, Mickel. I was like, yeah, what's wrong? I'm thinking, oh my God, what I missed? And she's like, this whole thing is done. I was like, yeah. Like, I even had the 4506T signed, just didn't have it dated because I know it's later. You know, you can just date it for later when you need it, but it wasn't dated, it was just signed. And she was like, you have everything. I was like, yeah, I'm confused. Wait a minute. Like, I was lost. I said, well, what's wrong? And she was like, nothing. I don't have to do anything. I just reviewed the packet and I'm submitted to the underwriter. I said, is that not what you normally do? And she was like, no, I normally have to piecemeal stuff. I'm calling people. I'm asking for this over. I said, oh, no, we don't do that in my office. I said, my background is in banking and in finance. I know what the requirements are. Not only that, your bank tells people. It's kind of upfront. It's on your website.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to you, you sent me the package. If we want this type of loan, here's the requirements. We want this type of loan, here's the requirements. I make sure we check all those boxes before I send you anything.
Yeah.
When my clients come in my office, I require a good faith deposit. And the reason why is, like, some clients, like I had one client figure out one day, he said, why do you take good faith deposits that are refundable at the closing of the loan? I said, one, because I get paid through the bank, so I don't double dip. Okay, that's one thing, because I'm a part of their network. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, it is a benefit to you to have some skin in the game.
Yeah.
So when I call you and say this, and this, you're going to do it because you've already put some money up. And yes, you're going to get it back at closing, but that good faith deposit isn't really for me. It's for you because I need you brought in.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, we do not know how much time this is going to take unless you understand these thresholds. In my initial consultation, I asked them the questions about the thresholds and about the requirements. If they can answer all those with a solid yes, great, we shouldn't be long. But if they be like, I'm not sure, I say, well, listen, let's take a time frame off the table. Let's get away from time, and let's start just thinking, accomplishing certain things. I said, because to get to a goal, we have to accomplish certain thresholds and certain feats that will get us to that goal. If we do that, we'll get there. That's easy. I said, I need you to get your mind wrapped that way.
And understand those wins, like those mini wins keep you in the game, keep
That's
you motivated
right.
to go, because now you start chipping away at the task, and it's easier to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly.
You know that it's going to happen because you chipped away at these tasks.
Yep. Versus some clients that be like, what do you think? I think you need to send me the paperwork when I ask for it.
Yeah.
Because the one thing I can't stand, here's my pet peeve. Maybe I should have ran about this today. My pet peeve is when clients send me something a week after or 2-3 weeks after I ask for it. What we doing?
But that bothers me because I expected to get it at a certain time, and I set aside time to review it after that time. And do they think that we're just sitting?
Yes. They think we're just sitting there playing with our thumbs and fingers. I told a client that one day, I said, excuse me. I said, listen, let me explain something to you. I said, I have, and you see them, I have folders on my desk. The folders on my desk are for clients who ain't sent me what they need.
I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. Because it keeps my eye on how long it's been since a person sent me. Because I date all the folders. When I create them, I date it. There are dates on the front of these folders. And I date it. When I ask you for something, I date it. When I receive it, I date it. And when I send a request out, it's one side. When I receive the request, it's another side. Okay. And I date it. When a client called me and say, Mickel, what's going on? I haven't heard. I say, I requested these documents on this day at this time. I sent you an email. I sent you a text. I haven't received anything from you. I reach out 2 days consecutively. Did you receive my email? Did you see my text? Oh, yes. Okay. All right, great. I'm still waiting for documents. After those 2 days, I'm on to other clients.
Yeah.
So when you call me in 2 weeks and ask me what's going on, and I'm just going to go back to the folder, all I do is grab the folder, because that's my record of when I sent a request for you to send me something and when I received it.
Yeah, I can't be more vested in your process than
Do
you
you
all.
at all?
I cannot.
At all. And if you send me everything and we're good, guess what your folder is? It's filed away in my desk.
Because it's complete.
Because it has documents in it. And that's confidential information. So they have to go filed away in my desk, and it locks.
Yeah.
Put that. I don't need that. Not only that, I've also sent it to the bank already. I've scanned it, emailed it over, or however they want it, fax, email, most email now, thank God. But they email it, and then I file it away.
Yeah.
Unless the bank asks me for something else, then I pull that file back out. Because I do the same thing with the bank. On the back of every folder, the bank requested, I sent it. The bank requested, I sent it. So if the bank say, well, I didn't receive that, I sent it this day, this time, it was in this email, check it for me before I resend it.
Resend it, yes.
I've had bankers lose say, oh, Mickel is right here. I didn't even see that. Because normally what I do is I try to put files in one Adobe PDF file together sometimes, because it shrinks down on the largeness of the file so I can send it via email versus sending an email and it's 1,000 files. And don't worry, I don't put everything in one file. But then also, here's the best part about it. I have a secure email that I use. I create a password. I send it out to you. You get the secure email, and then you're going to get a password in a separate email from a separate email account, because my secure password or my secure email is a separate email account.
Okay.
It's the one I pay for. And then, of course, well, my business account I pay for too, but this one is a separate account, and then you're going to get an email from my Vism account from me. You need to take that password and open up that email. That email is tagged, so when you open it, I get a response. This email was opened this time by this person. I know what's going on. So I do that to keep record because of clients. What's going on? Or bankers, I didn't receive that. I sent it out this day, this time. Not only that, it keeps me smooth.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about what's going on. If a file's on my desk like these, it's because somebody ain't sent me something. And you see it's more than 5.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. And so I think when I hear stories like what you talk about this young lady, that's the stuff, them the clients, if we could find them.
Well, see, and that made me think, like, I sold a house to her sister years ago, and she was the exact same way, where she just, everything we needed immediately. One of the smoothest processes ever. Her mother was at the walkthrough yesterday. I said, sweetie, do you have any more children? Because I could do 10 more of these.
She's probably like, girl, I ain't want no more kids. Make it out of here.
No, but it's one of those things where she didn't have the best financial situation.
Right.
But she did the work.
Yep.
Like she did the work.
So that's but yeah, I think with everything that clients do and don't do, I think is they don't understand that they would just kind of move swiftly. But with that being said, so let's get to the next point, because this is our last topic, last session for the day, or last section for the day. All right, so now we're post-pandemic. And it seems like buyers are doing their thing, but now sellers are starting to see.
And we needed sellers to see.
I see sellers are starting to see. Yeah, I saw a house go in a neighborhood that me and Nessa were looking at. The house was, when it first hit the market, it was 6 and some change. You know, I look at listings because I always do. Like, just keep looking at it. And I'll tag it. It was listed for like 6 and some change. It's down to 3 and some change now, where it belongs.
Where it belongs. And I'm sad for the seller who started at 6, because I know if they had a real estate agent who they listened to and respected, we showed them the data.
Well, again, listen to.
Yeah, we show them the data. And I'm like, why call me in? And granted, we have to, we have to do what the seller says.
Right.
We do. We have to.
Absolutely.
We have to do what the seller says. But we show you the data. Like it's not us making it up. Like we show it.
Someone's making it up, and I want what I want. JG Wentworth. It's my house, and I want it now.
But when you do that, you end up getting less than what you would have had you listed it within the proper range in the first place. because buyers see those days on market.
Yeah, I know.
They do. They see those days on market, and the activity within your first 2 weeks normally is going to show you what the market has to say about your house. If you're not getting showings, then people they're just watching to see if the price comes down.
Right.
Or another thing that happens is sometimes because the house looks good, you'll get a lot of showings, but then no offers.
Right, because it's priced out the market.
Yes, it's priced out the market. Like, yes, this house looks good, but your price is crazy.
Right.
Like,
No. But no, I think now that we're post-pandemic, I think people are starting to see it. Sellers are starting to see it, and I think. Do you think this new administration is going to have a impact on the real estate market in any way?
I think that if people believe it's going to have an impact, like people think that real estate is going to go up, or like if people believe that, it'll start to come into fruition. See, my job as a real estate agent is to get all those first-time home buyers who don't have a lot of money to buy these houses now, to ideally not have the prices increase dramatically. Honestly, I do not see it having any. Okay. Realistically, I don't see it having any effect. But of course, we don't know everything that's going to be enacted. Things that everything is going to come into fruition outside of real estate that affects real estate, like business and housing programs, that type of stuff. All that affects real estate.
Right.
So while we don't know, I think that in the short term, we're going to continue along this trend of what we've seen since the pandemic, where prices are kind of leveling off. Sellers are starting to see reason. Buyers have so much opportunity for money and assistance. The government kind of understands, especially in Pennsylvania, kind of understands that funds are low, money is tight. There's so much out there. I had a closing where somebody had $40,000 in grant money.
Jeez.
Like I looked at it yesterday and did the math. She had $40,000.
She's like, I'm going to this program, I'm going to that program, and I'm going to that. You got a program? I'm coming to that. I'm going to get this money. But I think, again, that's where it goes to buyers understanding the process, too. Because you get buyers, you get buyers like that get $40,000 and grant money, and they come to the table with like $2,500 out of pocket, or like a $500 out of pocket, something goofy like that. And then you get some buyers who losing their mind because I don't know where I'm going to get this money from. It's like, but if you would have just did what I told you. But I don't want to get caught up in that again, because here's the other question. I know the impact for the this new administration, but also, how do you think people are going to respond? Because here's the reality, and maybe I missed it. Does interest rates just go back down?
I thought they went up.
That's the thing. I was looking yesterday. So what rate did this young lady who you talk about get? If you can say it.
Which the one that's closing next week?
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a credit. There's a credit issue.
No, I know that. I'm just saying about the rate.
Well, the rate is reflective of the credit. So she's at like 6.7, 6.8.
That's not reflective of the credit so much. I mean,
it's FHA. Well, FHA.
But no, I know it is. But this is what I'm saying. That sounds about right. Because yesterday I looked at the Fed rate, and I was looking for another reason. And I kept looking. I'm like, is this wrong? Like, I know how to look the Fed rate up. Is this wrong? And it was like at 4.43%, which a bank is going to get their spread on it. So that's fine. And so if she's at 6 and some change with the FHA, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that means rates went down, because rates were soaring around like 7% at one point. And I remember they were up. That was banks. I know that was banks.
That was banks. And I haven't closed a 7 since like middle of last year. Like, I haven't.
Listen, Nessa asked me one day. She was like, "You think we're going to refinance the house?" I'm like, "For who? For what?" Like, I'm Ricky Waters there. And she's like, "Why? Our interest rate is like 2.15%.
You better sit still.
You better sit still. I'll get a HELOC if I need it, but I'm not touching that. Like, nah, like, what are we doing? Like, no, not a chance.
And that's one of the things that kind of depressed the market a little bit.
Oh yeah,
because
big time.
the sellers are sitting on those great mortgages, and like, so where people are seeing the benefit is those investors.
Yes.
Who had had multiple rental properties,
and they just dive and they just drop them.
Yeah, they just drop them. So my buyers are going after all of those.
Yes. I listen, but I I told Nessa, I said, yo, why don't we just move into another, like an apartment or something? She was like, what? I was like, yeah, like, because there's a triplex in West Philly, like, that's for sale for like 700,000. But the first and second floor are rented out. The third floor is a 3-room apartment, and it's empty. So if you wanted to buy it, live in it, and then rent out the other 2 floors, I was like, we can make money. She was looking at me like, no. I'm like, I'm just a thought. You know, I mean, my mind is always to the next investment. But we were just laughing about that. But that's the world that people are in. Like I was telling this one young lady, her son just came home from college. He graduated. He had a job in the city wherever he was at. And then, of course, that was like, he was an internship turned to a job. But it was a short-term job. It's over. He came home. He has another job. But, of course, he can't afford an apartment. He can't afford a house. I told her, I said, had that man save up his money. Had that young man save up his money. Get him some first-time home buyer program. And tell him to go find a duplex or a triplex. And don't look at the price. Do the cost analysis on it. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, if you're renting out most of the building, he's making money.
And even if, because sometimes the way the prices are set up, if you're living in the property, and even if the rents don't quite cover the mortgage, you're still living at a discount. Versus if you had gone on your own and just bought a house or just rented an apartment.
There you go.
So you're still getting
a discount,
you're still
right?
Getting a discount, plus you're earning equity.
Yep.
And people who just look at the hard numbers can't always see that me living in the place is a financial benefit to me.
Yep.
It's a financial benefit to me. I'm not paying hotel fees. I'm not paying high rents.
I'm not living with my mama who yell at me and don't want to, like, because I'm at that space of adult children. And I was telling her, I said, listen, I told my daughter, you can't come in this house after a certain time. I don't care what you say, because I want my door locked.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for too long now, and I don't know how to. I think that's one thing, and me and her were talking about it, that we're not going to, like, move on. Like, you need to be in this house. I want my door locked. My alarm goes on at a certain time. You need to be here at a certain time. And part of it is, like, it's unfair, but the other part is, like, it's life.
Yeah. Save your money, get your own spot.
Right.
Like,
But for her son, I mean, he's much older than Sid. But I was telling her, I said, just look at it. What you said was key. I said, he's living at a discount. I said, watch this. If he's smart, he knows other college kids, other students that just graduated, that's here and that's back in the city, right? And she was like, yeah. I said, if he buys a duplex or a triplex and he rents out the other apartments and he lives in one and then rents rooms out in his apartment, he mess around and be living at a super discount. And
in a college era, you can take the other 2 apartments and rent the rooms there
individually. So I think people don't think about that when it comes to their adult children that are looking to buy or looking to move. And the one thing I was telling her, I said, and you just think about it. If he buys that and he owns it and he lives there, if he meets a young woman and then they move in there and then they want to have a family, they just move out, buy their new home, and rent the whole building.
One of my favorite experiences as a real estate agent was meeting this young lady, early 20s. Me and her mama had hit it off for some reason before I met her. And then when she said, listen, my daughter want to buy a house, I want you to help her out. Baby girl was working at the Gap, just getting out of school. Actually, she was going back to school, working at the Gap, but her mother had worked on her with her credit. And her mother was like, I want you to help her buy a duplex. I said, I know, girl, we going to do this. She bought the duplex, lived in one unit, rented out the other, got married, moved to Delaware, rented out both units. Then when she decided she wanted to buy their forever home, she moved back into it and then sold it for double what she paid for it. Use that money for the down payment on her dream house. Mm-hmm. So her dream house is super affordable now.
Bingo.
Super affordable. She's paying pretty much what she would have been paying if she like renting an apartment. And now she's got a huge 4-bedroom house.
I tell people, real estate, if you do it right, it's a vehicle. It's another financial vehicle. People just don't do it right.
But you got a plan. Like
Well, that's what I mean. They don't have a strategy. You need to have a strategy. We talked about this with clients yesterday. You need to have an entrance strategy and an exit strategy. That's what we do here at Vezin People. We give you strategies to handle these? Because again, real estate is another financial vehicle. And I tell people, some of y'all can't get into real estate investing yet. You're really not there yet. And I'm not talking about financial, I'm talking about mentally. Some of y'all can't handle all of the challenges that come along with it when we're talking about true investments and true rental flips and properties. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, can you handle when a portfolio of a bank changes and now you can't refinance that property and take cash out? Can you still manage it and maintain it? Or are you going to take a hit? And then once you take a hit, now you're done because now you can't get no money.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And so that's the concept that I'm telling people, like, you got to be mindful, but strategize. And if you strategize, you can strategize also for a worst case scenario.
Yeah, always. I think you should always strategize for the worst case scenario. I do that in my day to day.
Well, I don't see. That's different for me because I strategize a few different ways. I don't just like I really don't care about the worst case scenario because for me, you should be moving things before the worst case scenario shows up.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I don't strategize for worst case scenario. It's almost like indicators.
Yes.
And because of my background in finance and economics, I look at, those different thresholds. I look at those different elements that's showing up and I go, whoa, wait a minute, something about to happen.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Let's do this now before we get there. And then when it shows up, we're like, oh, I'm good. Why? Because I saw it coming. Because elements of anything that's about to happen economically or elements that's going to happen in your family, things certain elements show up before you hit those thresholds.
Yeah, and you just have to realize that
Yes.
you got to have to realize that that's what that is.
Exactly. And that's one of the things we teach. Watch this, look, nice plug. That's one of the things we teach in the Business and Personal Finance Empowerment Academy. It's like we teach how to identify these things because it's so important that you identify what's going on.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that most people don't know how to see is, why didn't I get that money before I needed it? Because you can't borrow money when you need it.
No.
Most of the time, you're done. Most people want to borrow money after they take a hit. And it's like, you're a risk now.
Yeah.
You are a true risk now. And lenders are risk mitigators. So they look at you and go, can't touch them. Stop listening to all the crazy stuff you hear online. Some stuff is solid, some stuff is not.
Yeah.
And sit down with a professional. Make sure you sit down with a professional, have a conversation, go over your strategies. And if you sit down with a professional and they charge you to go over your strategies with you, they're not much of a professional. It's just that simple.
No, you give them tidbits and you're paying for the actual work of implementing the strategy.
There you go. And if we ain't implementing nothing, then you ain't nothing to pay for.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where a lot of people have their miscues and missteps. But so we are done. We're actually early today as far as our time, but our timing of this was fun. One of the things I wanted to say before we got off today was, with everything that's coming up in March, people, with the new classes coming up in April, I want people to start to really get in, register. We're not going to be in this building no more. We're going to be in a new building because the space is limited here. So the new classes will be, and they're only face-to-face, only in person, no more virtual. Virtual is done because we just didn't see the proof of concept of it and we didn't see any return from it. So we just went person to person or in person, face-to-face. Like I said, the information session will be coming up soon. Date to be announced. I'm still waiting to hear back from Seth over at Braid Mill. But this week, like I said, was a phenomenal week, Tiff. It really was a good week. I gave everybody off. As you know, the office is quiet. No one's in today. I got to do something for Miss Carolyn before I leave, which I might just come in early Monday and do it because I'm lazy. I told you men are lazy. And most people think we will push stuff off to not think if we don't have to. I know I will. I'm like, no, I'll deal with that later. But it was a phenomenal week. It was a fun week. And to give people a small little update, I ranted about my daughter. If you follow us, you heard a rant about my daughter. That relationship has changed so much in the last couple of months. We've done some digging, some soul searching, all of us. And we remember we screamed about adult children and parenting. We got some tips. We got some tips from a couple people I know.
That's good.
That have raised their adult children. They didn't leave. They didn't kick them out. They helped them through their
that's
late
my plan.
20s.
Yeah,
that's our plan.
I'm not telling my kids to get out.
I said that's got some great tips. So like, any last words, Tiff?
No, it is Friday and my brain is so like out of here. My brain is out of here. I've had an awesome week and I'm ending this week on a high. And so I just want to say to everybody, Pay attention to what you're doing and what's going on around you, and enjoy yourself at the same time.
Pretty much, because the biggest problem with a lot of us is we don't know how to do what you just said. We do not know how to enjoy ourselves at all. We think we do, but we really don't. Well, my words are always the same, people. Get informed, get informed, get informed, because you need information. I read something last night, and I'll close with this. To obtain wisdom, one must first collect knowledge. I thought that was awesome. And I don't know who said it, but it said to obtain wisdom, one must first collect knowledge. In other words, you need to get the information.
Yeah.
I said, that was sweet the way they said that. So like all things, man, people, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in.